The Toronto Raptors have just fired head coach Nick Nurse. Was this the right decision by the team, and who should be in line to replace him? We're going to answer those questions in today's video. Let's get into it. For Raptors content in videos, live streams, and shorts, make sure you're subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports. Help me on my road to 14,000 subscribers. We're getting so close to the milestone, but it has just been revealed by Woj and Shams that Nick Nurse has been fired as head coach of the Toronto Raptors. It's been a quite successful tenure for Nick Nurse in Toronto, but many fans feel as though it is time for a fresh start with the team. I have no doubts that Nick Nurse is still an incredible coach as far as an NBA standpoint, and I think he's going to have no problem getting future jobs. So how did we get to this point where with 1 year left on his contract, the NBA champion, the former coach of the year, how did we get to this point where the Raptors are firing the man? It's incredible that 1 year ago, Nick Nurse was a treasured part of this Toronto Raptors organization. The Raptors were in the middle of a playoff battle with the Philadelphia 76ers. They had won 48 games. They were the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference and absolutely blew away expectations. And a lot of the praise for the way the Raptors season went, and rightfully so, went to head coach Nick Nurse. The innovation that he consistently brought to the defensive end of the court was excellent and made the Raptors a real tenacious team that nobody wanted to face. They were a nightmare matchup for the way they hounded people on defense. That was the catalyst in this Raptors, the recent success that we've had with the team, going all the way especially to that 2019 championship. He really established this defense-first mentality within the team that we as fans, we really had that resonate with us, and it really gave this team an identity that felt like it completely evaporated over the course of this season. It did not go well for Nick Nurse in Toronto this season. It did not go well for the Raptors at all this season, and there was a lot of criticism from the jump to Nick Nurse as a coach. I feel like a lot of what worked last season was as a result of the innovation and the element of surprise that it brought to the court. Not having a traditional center with the team, not having an actual rim protector. The Raptors had to find creative ways to get their stops, and they did manage to do that in great success. This season, it felt like just a lot of the league caught up to us. A lot of the league caught up to exactly what the Raptors were doing, and Nick Nurse could no longer hide a lot of the problems that were within the team and maybe the problems that were within himself. There was a constant struggle from him to adapt to situations, adapt to the way teams were evolving against the Raptors' tactics, evolving against the way the Raptors were playing on the offensive end, the lack of shooting with his team. There was just a general and distinct lack of adjustments being made by Nick Nurse over the course of the season, which left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouths as fans, and I'm sure the mouths of the people in the front office. In the postseason press conferences, a lot of the players have spoken about Nick Nurse in a very positive light, saying that he's an excellent coach. They want to continue working with him going forward, but that has been shut down by the front office. So we have to wonder if that is for the best here, because I don't think all of the things that went wrong with Nick Nurse as a head coach this season were really enough to push the front office over the edge in terms of making the decision to fire him from his position. I think what put Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, the whole group, what put the Raptors front office over the edge were his comments near the end of the season. It really seemed to have pinched a nerve with the people within the front office, how Nick Nurse was speaking freely about needing time to reflect on his time in Toronto, and needing time to reflect on all the decisions and anywhere he can go in the offseason. Just felt like Nick Nurse was toying a little bit too much with his future, and it seemed to be just too much for the front office to stand. And with 1 year left on his contract, the decision was made that this team needs a fresh start. Nick Nurse, no matter what anyone tells you, was a driving force in the Raptors winning the 2019 championship. Yes, Kawhi Leonard was a big part, but the Raptors don't win that championship without Nick Nurse. The defensive schemes that he brought to this team were major reasons why the Raptors were able to take down a formidable 76ers team in the conference semis, a formidable Bucks team in the conference finals, and even with the injury to Kevin Durant, that was a formidable Golden State Warriors team that they took down in the NBA Finals. The innovation that he brought to this team's defense inspired a lot of teams throughout the league and changed the way a lot of the teams play defense. So Nick Nurse undoubtedly is a great coach. Perhaps this is somebody who hit their expiration date with their team. Perhaps this is somebody that failed to adapt to the NBA evolving to his plans that he put forth for this team. And perhaps it was just time for the Raptors to get a fresh start with a new coach. I think Nick Nurse, once again, is a great coach. I understand the decision to fire him. As time wore on after that Chicago Bulls game, I became more and more on the side that this team needs a change. So what exactly is that change going to be for this team? Who should that change be for this team? Now, obviously, the best head coach from a basketball standpoint that is available for the Raptors to hire at this point really seems like it's Ime Udoka, and it seems like that is a person who can clearly lead this team in the best light based on the evidence that we've seen with the success he had with the Boston Celtics last season. However, hiring Ime Udoka comes with a lot of consequences naturally. I don't need to go too in-depth in the situation from Ime Udoka from last season. Everybody is well aware of what happened at this point. But if the Raptors hire Ime Udoka, that is going to be a really big PR nightmare for the team to deal with. Now, it's up to the team to decide if they want to deal with that. If they think having Ime Udoka's services with his team is worthy enough of dealing with that PR nightmare. But it's clear that Ime Udoka is a good coach. Whatever the extra circumstances are, I'm not a fan of the decision to go with him because of all the extra things, all the extra baggage that it comes with. I'm not saying that nobody's ever allowed to get a second chance. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that there's a lot of other great candidates out there that you can go with instead who also deserve a shot as a head coach and can also do a phenomenal job as a head coach. The Raptors fired Dwayne Casey way back in 2018 and hired Nick Nurse, a promotion from within for the team. They decided that Dwayne Casey was not the right man to continue leading that team forward. It really felt as though the team had hit their ceiling with what they could do with Dwayne Casey and what they could do with DeMar DeRozan. So even though there was success there was time for a shakeup. The promotion from within, despite Nick Nurse working on Dwayne Casey's coaching staff, Nick Nurse blossomed and being able to bring his spin and his innovation to the team. So I still think there's a possibility for success with this team in going with another promotion from within. I think Adrian Griffin has showcased that he can be somebody who can lead this team as a head coach if he's provided an opportunity. In some certain situations where Nick Nurse has not been able to feature as head coach, Griff has done a pretty good job for this team. Another person who is extremely well respected in terms of being a coach and perhaps is worthy of being given the opportunity to lead his own team is Earl Watson, another member of the Raptors coaching staff. Another person, not quite a promotion from within, but who has gone on to a different coaching role, gone on to a promotion, is former Raptors 905 head coach who had tons of success with that group in Patrick Mutombo. Right now, development is a pretty essential part of what the Raptors want to do. They have a lot of young players in this team, a lot of young and ascending players, and they want to get the most out of these guys to get back up to the top of the NBA standing. We don't want to be fighting for the play-in tournament positions. Play-in tournament, that's just not where this team needs or wants to be. So a developmental coach like Patrick Mutombo, who has done so well with the development of players in the Raptors 905 system, that could be another interesting avenue for the Raptors to pursue. Listen, it's kind of tough. It's kind of a conflict thinking about Ime Udoka as his head coach. I understand what he brings from a basketball mindset that could be good for this team. I also understand all the extra stuff associated with it. The Brooklyn Nets were very close to hiring Ime Udoka in the middle of the season. They decided against it, went from a promotion within with Jacques Vaughn. That has worked out quite tremendously for them. Obviously, Durant and Kyrie Irving has left, but Jacques Vaughn, with the group that he has done a tremendous job. So it's not like if the Raptors hire Udoka, I'm no longer going to be a fan of this team. I just don't see the need to go for that when there are other great opportunities and great coaches out there who can also be provided this opportunity with the team. And I believe, like the many I've listed in this video, can do a great job with this team. This whole coaching conversation, who's going to be the next coach, is a conversation for another day. The reality of today, we need to process this Nick Nurse thing. I really don't like people victory lapping this thing, going out of their way to victory lap it, because the reality is Nick Nurse is a treasured part of this history. The people who know the deep roots of this Raptors franchise and its history, and people who maybe even go further back than myself. I'm born in 99. I didn't see maybe this team worse than what I saw, in the late 2000s, early 2010s with this team. Maybe it was even worse than I remember, but the Raptors winning a championship, having sustainable playoff success, this just wasn't supposed to happen. We weren't supposed to be here. Nobody thought we could do this. Nobody thought this team could achieve this. And Nick Nurse joined this team in 2013. And since then, the team has completely reinvented its image. It has only seen success in the last decade or so, other than maybe this season, other than the Tampa season. There has been so much success that just felt like it was impossible for a basketball franchise in Toronto to achieve, and it just felt unobtainable. The Raptors reaching the pinnacle of this sport and winning an NBA championship. Nick Nurse worked with a lot of the players as an assistant in the development phase to get the most out of guys like Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, taking their games to the next level, working with guys like Jakob Poeltl in the early stage of his career, working with OG Anunoby, and since coming in as head coach, we've seen these guys blossom as well into stars in the NBA. But the pinnacle that I think, as much as Kawhi Leonard was the catalyst in the Raptors winning a championship, I don't think the Raptors get there without the decision to hire Nick Nurse as a head coach. And for that, perhaps he is the best coach this franchise has ever seen. It's a sad day to see him go, but it's an understandable decision that this team needs a fresh start. I'm excited to see what the future holds for the Raptors. It seems like this is kind of the reset we need. Perhaps there are other massive changes to this franchise coming very, very soon. What did you guys make of the decision to fire Nick Nurse? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Who do you want to see replacement as head coach for this team? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to hit that like button. It does go a long way to supporting the channel. And subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more Raptors content just like this, and help me on my road to 14,000 subscribers. We're less than 40 subs away from that huge milestone. I'll see you again tomorrow for another video.